Okay, so this Forspoken game is one that I don't know. Like people have, on one hand, people have good things to say about it. Like the story's good, the open world environment looks impressive. The character interactions and the dialogue and the cutscenes are all smooth and they all look nice and everything. And it's a game that you can get like 30 hours of gameplay out of in terms of the main story. But Square Enix has gone on record and has admitted that the game pretty much flopped in relation to sales. It did not meet their expectations. I don't think it even broke a quarter mil in terms of sales as of yet. And keep in mind, the game's only been out for about 2 months now. You know, it hasn't even been like 6 months or a year yet. And honestly, like Square Enix is not talking about their sales figures or anything like that. And like for the most part, I don't think people expected Forspoken to like break a mil or to sell like 2 million or 3 million or anything like that, because when it comes down to big high profile video game releases of 2023, people are thinking about games like Square Enix 16 and Mortal Kombat 12 and Street Fighter 6 and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, those type of games. If anything, Forspoken would have been better off if it was released in 2022, considering the fact that that year was a disappointing yet lackluster year in relation to high-profile video game releases. The most popular video game to have come out of 2022 was probably God of War Ragnarok, a game that I actually have. It's pretty fun, by the way. And like the Forspoken game, pretty much, it's not a bad RPG, but at the same time, it's not Game of the Year material either. And a lot of people probably expected more, concerning the fact that Square Enix was the publisher for this game. And like for the most part, like anything that Square Enix publishes that's, RPG related, it's normally gold. But I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know, Forspoken just feels like another like bland 3D open world RPG, And honestly, I do feel that a lot of people are getting sick of 3D simulation type of action RPG video games, because it just feels so generic. And like, I think there's way too much emphasis on realism, and to a point where I guess, 3D games nowadays, or 3D simulation games, they're just boring for the most part, and that's not the case with every 3D action adventure simulation game. It really depends on what game you play, who developed the game, who licensed the game, stuff like that. But again, I do feel that Forspoken is not, it's not as bad as a lot of people say it is, but at the same time, it's not as good as hardcore RPG lovers say it is either. I think it's just a RPG that'll probably be forgotten within the next couple of years or so. But at the same time, there'll probably be a niche audience of fans who will look back years from now and say, yeah, Forspoken was a game that got way too much hate. But at the same time, I don't know. It's just, I kind of wish that more video game companies were like Nintendo, in the sense where they took chances on certain things. They tried something new and did things to try and make people, I guess, feel a certain way, opposed to just catering to the norm in terms of what's in and all that stuff. But it is what it is. I think 3D action RPGs, for the most part, they're good, but at the same time, I feel like there's so much 3D RPGs being made, and so much emphasis on realism and simulation, all that stuff, to a point where it's just boring and it's just going to make people want to turn to something else in general. I do feel that RPGs and action adventure titles are going to remain the predominant genre of this decade, probably with shooters to some extent, but but for the most part, Forspoken is a game that I feel like it could have shined if it was released in a different year other than 2023.